Can you tell me where your family is originally from?
Armenia.
Mm-hmm.
Bitlis.
And what generation of your family lived in Armenia?
Lives in Armenia?
Yeah, or lived in
Or
Armenia.
lived in what generation? I can't tell you. You know, my parents did not say much about what went on over there. They didn't want to worry us. Robbie knows a lot.
Mm.
Yeah, so I can't answer that correctly. All I know is my mother and father came from there.
So you said your mother and father didn't talk a lot about their life in Armenia?
No.
Do you know when they came to the United States?
My mother was 18. I can't tell you the year. It was
That's
very
okay.
quiet about it. They didn't want to worry us. We're three girls, but we're little then too.
Can you tell me about your sisters then? Your sisters?
Oh, there were three of us. I'm the oldest of the three. My middle sister was 2 years younger than me, and my youngest is 7 years younger than me. The one that is 2 years younger than me has passed, and my youngest is well, she's not well.
Would you mind sharing their names?
Arpy is the middle sister, and Queenie is the baby sister.
And could you tell me what you do know about your parents' lives?
No, they were very quiet about it. I can't. My parents' life as far as being here, but not over there. Over here, my father was a shoemaker in Chinatown. And there were days that he would come home and he only made 10 cents a day.
Wow.
My mother sewed all of our clothing, three girls. And she was a good seamstress. She used to have the pedal sewing machine, and then she had it electrified after that. She was a wonderful cook. We used to have a barbecue. Well, let me say this first before I go into that. We lived across the street from the Holy Trinity Church, that red brick church. There were 5 houses that were all the same at that point. And so we had one common yard, and everybody would barbecue shish kebab, and you could smell it all over the neighborhood. It smelled so good.
Wow.
And then we had the bakery, which is close to, right now, the Sunday School building parking lot. And at that time, we were able to smell the bread baking. Well, the city or the government, U.S. government, I don't know which, said you can't have that anymore. So consequently, there's no more of that sweet odor coming out.
Oh. Do you know when that was?
I don't know.
So, do you know how long your family has been in the United States?
Well, if I'm 100, yeah, I really don't know what, I don't know what year. Robbie, do you know?
1921.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
That's when they came.
And has your family always lived in Fresno when they came to the U.S.?
Yes.
Did your family or your parents ever tell you what their initial time in Fresno looked like? What arriving to the U.S. was like for them?
What it looked like for them? Well, they loved being here, of course, away from all that turmoil and everything. And they had many friends and relatives. And we have family gatherings, of course, like everyone else, and it was fun. Enjoyed it all.
Wow. Did your parents have any difficulty getting jobs when they first came?
Well, my father was self-employed. So, and my mother did work in a packing house for a while. but not long. Um, after some years had gone by, a wealthy relative, my dad approached him and said, "I've seen this apartment. Do you think I can borrow some money? I'll pay you back."
Mm.
And and the relative said yes, gave him the money, and so he was able to get those apartments, and he was so happy.
Oh, wow.
And with that, they were able to upgrade their house and move to another one. Eventually, we ended up being next door to Robbie's uh, grandma.
Mm.
It was fun. She was a sweet lady. And I'll add to that, my mother and father were the best. They really were. I mean, everybody should say that about their parents, but that doesn't always happen.
Tell me more.
Um, we three girls, Arpie and I, were old enough to go places. So we had to leave Queenie, the youngest one, um, at home because she wasn't old enough to go to places that we could go to. Finally, she became old enough where she would go with us to. We would have the best time together. Archie was the funny one. She made us laugh constantly. One day, she was married at this point. She had bought a wig, so she put it on her, and they had a swimming pool in their yard. She put this wig on, and she ran out the front door, and she came around the house, and she knocked on the gate to their backyard. And Sam, who happened to be a war hero and was prisoner of the Japanese,
Whoa, wow.
and he had to work for them in one of the camps there. And he did not recognize her, and he laughed and laughed and laughed. So she was always joking around with her husband, with her family. Yeah.
Wow. Would you say that a lot of the folks you spent time around growing up were Armenian?
I had some, what were high schools or schools. I mean, there's all races going. I had friends that were not Armenian, but mostly Armenian.
What were your interactions like with non-Armenians growing up? Did you always feel welcomed in the community?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Wow. And were there any important Armenian organizations for you growing up?
Well, of course, I belonged to the Ladies' Aid growing up. I went to Sunday school, first of all. It's Holy Tea. And belonged to the Young Legion, which was a youth group. I'll tell you, that's how I met my husband.
Oh, wow.
But we would all go out in a group, and we would go to, at that time, it was the Carnation ice cream in the Tower District. And we would go have banana splits, milkshakes, and everything. So we never went to a bar or anything like that. And my husband had a crush on me, and he was good with electronics. We three sisters at the time we were working. We earned enough money where we wanted to get wasn't a TV set, they weren't here, a hi-fi, I think we called it at that time. And we said, who's going to fix this? And they said, well, I thought, Aaron's pretty good with electronics. Let's call him. Now, 9 months have gone by, and I haven't dated him, and he's asked me for 9 months. So I said, I better call Aaron and ask him if he would mind. And he came, and he worked for hours, but he got it put together. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm embarrassed. If he asked me again, I'd better go. And when she did ask, and I did go, and we got married.
And it worked out.
Yeah, right.
That's great. And can you tell me more about your early years. What activities do you remember participating in?
Are talking sports wise?
Anything you remember?
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, when I was, how old was I? Maybe 13, 14. I was third baseman
Mm.
at baseball, and I, I went to work at, after I graduated from high school. High school by that time, Fresno City College was within our high school.
Oh, wow.
And I would take my typewriting class, walk out of my high school class, walk next door to the Fresno City College and take typing. And then I became a secretary. So when I became a secretary, I got a job at Perencio Winery. Oh, the smell, I couldn't stand it. And so I decided to work elsewhere, and I went to work for H.S. Crocker Company, downtown Fresno, which was a stationery store, but they sold Fostoria stemware also, greeting cards, office furniture, things like that. And yeah, I worked there, and I was pregnant, still working there.
Wow.
And my office was upstairs. Well, it was downstairs first, and then they moved us upstairs. After a while, it got to be kind of hard being pregnant going up the steps, so I quit. And yeah, my boss was a Shriner, and we would watch the Shriners parade on Fulton Street. My husband was also a Shriner or Mason, and then he became a Shriner. My husband was in it. That's his picture over there. Can't see from there. Oh, and I loved to sing. I sang in the church choir. I was one of the soloists there. I loved to sing so much that I would sing with different groups, and we would go to homes where people stay, if they're ill or something, and we would sing for them. But at one point, we had a Fresno Opera here, and the conductor, the one who got us in going, was not from Fresno. He was from Tulare or someplace else like that, and I've even forgotten his name. He organized this opera group. I sang in La Boheme, and I sang, not a solo. What was the other one name? It'll probably come to me. If you were to name some operas, I can say, yeah, that one too. There were two of them. In fact, my daughter came and sang in the chorus also, and her name is Karen.
Thank you.
You need her last name or no?
Yeah, would you mind sharing more about your family?
I'll have to spell it for you.
Okay.
Mekenian.
Thank you.
It was very enjoyable. Oh, La Traviata was the other opera.
Oh. What was your favorite thing to sing?
They were both, I don't know.
Yeah.
I've got some pictures in an album if you're interested. Let's see what's there. This is it or not. This says Proscofayana here. Oh yeah, here it is. That's one of them.
Wow.
And there's another picture here too. Where's the other one?
I don't know how we're able to.
The chorus I sang in. This is a newspaper clipping from it.
Oh my goodness. Do you want to hold them up a bit, and can you share what you can about these photos?
Okay. Let me pull these out. Triple X, and my husband belongs to. I don't know if you're interested in this or not, but let's get this done and I'll.
Okay.
I'm jumping from one place to another. What do you want? You want the opera one first?
I have this one.
All right, these two are the operas. That's me with dark hair. It's all dark. Want it like that?
Yeah, that's great. So which operas are each of these from?
Did I write it? Original opera. No, I just got names on it. This one says La Boheme on this one. Okay, this one says La Boheme, so this one is the other opera. I guess. Yeah, the costumes are different.
Wow. Thank you. That's great. And do you want to share about this one as well?
Oh, this is
that from the same one or?
no, my costume is different here. Must have been a different act, maybe. I don't know. Can't remember. This one, this was our choir director, not for church. We would go about singing different places. Her name was Gladys Peters. And that's me right there.
Oh, wow. How old are you in this photo? Do you know?
Let's see, is there a date here? April, I don't have my glasses, 1975.
Wow. Thank you. Did you want to share about the newspaper clipping?
Yeah, are we through here?
Oh, yeah. Is there anything else you want to show?
Is
that the choir?
Right.
Oh, that's great.
Okay, this says Triple X. Picks Aaron as Man of the Year. How this organization started was they would, I can't think of the word I want to use, discriminate against the Aaronians here very much. We couldn't own property, difficult to find jobs at this period. Not this period, but before the organization got started. When the war came and the boys had to go off to fight, that's when the doors opened a little bit more and we were able to get jobs then. And once they saw how diligently the Aaronians worked, they could hardly wait till they hired another Army. So anyway, when we were discriminated against at Fresno High School, I'll point this one school out because this is where this happened. The boys were not able to join a fraternity because of the discrimination. So 3 boys sat on the grass at Fresno High, and they decided, they did go to the principal, and the principal said, why don't you start your own organization? So they thought, good. So they sat on the grass, and they decided that they would start an organization, and they called it Triple X, because there were 3 boys. And this organization has grown to the point where they're even in Las Vegas.
Wow.
I don't know about the East Coast. I haven't heard anything about that. So anyway, that's how that got started. And they would, of course, have elections. He wasn't always the president. What did they call him? Man of the Year. Triple X group. Just Triple X, I guess. And they're still around. My son-in-law belongs to it, and he lives down south.
What does the group do?
They would help organizations. That's what it's for.
That's good.
These are my 2 grandchildren.
Oh.
I have 6 of them. But this is when they were younger. Now they're mothers.
Wow.
And they each have 2 children.
Can you share their names? Or
their names, that's Brittany, and that's Brianna.
Thank you.
You got to kick the other grandchildren. Got
to give them a shout out.
I don't know why I got these in here. These are the wives of the Triple X men.
Oh.
At that time.
Thank you. Yeah. Great. Do you remember any of their names?
It's been so long. I don't even. Oh my gosh. I don't have my glasses on either. You know, that's Gladys. And that is John. She's gone. A lot of them I don't remember their names at all. But that's June. That's Mary. Oh, that's Rosellen Kershaw. She was very involved in city politics and things. Here. Save all this stuff. Let's see what this is. Oh, this is another chime. It's other people for the wives of the Triple X. So, I better put that there. And this here. All over here. Oh, this book. My one grandson, who's now 40 years old, lives in Southern California. He sent me this book yesterday. He called me up, Grandma, I'm going to send you this book. And we're going to start, you and I are going to start a reading club. You know, that's not what they call it.
A book club.
Book club.
Yeah.
Thank you. And this printing is very, very.
It's a big book.
1,000 pages, I guess, or so. Karen told me, my daughter Karen, the one that was in the opera also, she read that 1,000 pages. I didn't look at to see if this one has 1,000 pages, but.
Wow. What's the book about?
It's about the Turks going into Armenia, and where this group of Armenians went up into this mountain. Robbie, if I'm getting this wrong, let me know. Up to this mountain, and they fought the Turks. And of course, they were killed. There was only about 50 survivors out of that group. So that's this story. When my grandson just came here the other day, just because he wanted to, and he wanted to see some things at the museums and things. So he wanted to go to the cemetery and see Tellurian. Is Tellurian the one for this? Yeah. Wanted to see the monument. And he wanted to see my parents and my husband and my whole family that has passed, see them, and so we did. So anyway, then he said there in this particular cemetery, he says, I don't see if this monument's supposed to be huge. And I said, well, we have another monument, another cemetery. So I said, just follow. I told him how to get there, which was right next door to this one. And as we drove through that gate, he spotted that monument right away. It is huge. You can't miss it. It's beautiful. I mean, it was really beautiful. And he took some pictures of that. And so this is the story of that.
Wow.
Off to the distance, there was like a little house, like a shack, small. And So we drove past there, and Ryan got out of the car and he looked and he says, "Oh, he says this is a for the ones that went up into the mountains and were killed. There's only 50 survivors that remained, and their names were all printed on that." I mean, I learned a lesson if it wasn't for him, you know.
Wow.
And his name is Ryan McKinley. It says Ararat Masis. Yes.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Wow.
At that cemetery, we used to sing Prof. Kafayan's music. His mother was the organist. Robbie's mother was the organist of our church at that time. And he came in like a prince, on the train, dressed in his suit, top hat, cane, the whole thing. But he died as a pauper. So sad. Yeah, I've got some of his music, as I'm sure Robbie does too.
Wow.
And his music was so beautiful. And Queenie Antoyan said, told me that, well, I'm going to backtrack. Across the street from our church is a hotel. And some people, whenever they came to that and stayed at the hotel, they would come to church. And when church was over with, they would go to where the organ was, where Queenie had played, services are over. They said, they had never heard music so beautiful. But the church hierarchy, I don't know if it came from across the seas or what. It had said you can no longer play this music in your church. San Francisco and Los Angeles used to play. I mean, he did concerts. He went all over. So now we have two Armenian composers. One is Ekmalian, and the other one is Komitas. Those are the only times we're allowed to sing. Anyway, he's buried at the Ararat Cemetery. Yeah, he came in like a king and went out like a pauper.
Thank you for that. Do you know why they? Do you know why they said that music couldn't be played?
I don't know. Do you know, Rob?
No, I don't.
Maybe he was in competition with the traditional music. I have no clue. I'm just guessing.
Yeah. I want to talk more about the Holy Trinity Church and your involvement in that. What did that community mean to you growing up?
Oh, it was, I don't know, it was church. We just went to church. Made a lot of friends at church. Of course, we learned about God. Sometimes it's very difficult because it was all in Armenian, but now the sermon is in English. But the whole thing is in Armenian. But they do have TV cameras up on either side of the wall where they'll have the Armenian and the English. So I'm real happy that they've done that.
Were there a lot of church events or holidays you attended?
Oh, yes, there was. I can't tell you because I don't know enough about that.
That's okay.
And but we would have like the Easter and Christmas and All Saints Day and stuff like that, you know.
And you mentioned understanding Armenian was difficult for you. Did you ever have your parents speak Armenian at home?
Understanding the Armenian comes from the church because it's more high class. I speak Armenian pretty well. So that part is easy. It's the church.
Yeah.
So when they have, if I decide to go to church now, it's difficult for me. I can read exactly what.
Wow. Do you think it was important for your parents growing up to speak to you in Armenian and have any other ways to preserve Armenian identity?
No, I went to Armenian school. I mean, it was we just knew what to do. It was fine. In fact, my mother said, and father said, we have to learn English. We can't go shopping. We can't do this. We can't do that if we don't know English. So they went to, it was an elementary school called Emerson.
Mm.
They went to Emerson school and they learned how to speak English. And so they were very happy. They became citizens, both of them. Yeah, in this country, you have to learn.
Mm-hmm. Wow. I'm curious what your favorite Armenian foods were to eat growing up.
Favorite Armenian food?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I love them all.
That's good.
I love it all. Well, gosh, hard to say. Well, I'm saying right now, it's called only because I went to AJ's restaurant the other day when my grandson came. And when I saw that they had meatball soup on the menu, I thought, well, I'm going to try it. Well, it was delicious. My mother used to make it too, but I hadn't had it in umpteen years.
Wow.
So it was really, really good.
That's
My
great.
favorite, I have a lot of favorites. They're all good. I love the dolmas, you know.
Do you have a favorite dish that you make?
I don't make anything now. I have to do the easiest thing.
That's all right. Could you talk more about what school was like for you growing up?
Oh, it was fun. I enjoyed school.
Mm-hmm.
I did. You make friends, you learn. You know, that's important. Um, yeah, I mentioned that Emerson School, elementary school, is gone. My junior high school, Fresno Technical, is gone. And speaking of Fresno Technical, during the war, the soldiers would come and go to class there also. And my high school, my junior high school, Longfellow, is gone.
Wow. Do you know why? Was there a reason they closed or just?
Why? I don't know. Progress. Something else in the place of my high school. I don't. I have no clue why.
Mm-hmm.
That's Robbie's.
Yeah. And could you describe what the neighborhood you grew up in was like?
Very warm.
Mm-hmm.
Elementary school wise, we had a neighbor next door who he wasn't a doctor, but if there was something wrong, he would move certain and he would go away. Baron Sakajan was his name. Baron is Mr. Sakajan is his last name. Of course, they're not around anymore.
Do you remember where most of the Armenians lived? And could you describe what those areas were like?
Where they lived? We all lived in the same neighborhood at one time or other. Of course, Armenian town was surrounded around the church.
Mm-hmm.
That was it. But gradually, different areas opened up, you know, and so it became more spread out. And now they're all over Fresno, and all over, you know, different areas. Mm-hmm.
Could you describe what made Armenian Town special?
Church picnics were a lot of fun, and sometimes different Armenian organizations would have dances, American dancing. I don't know if they still have it. That was a long time ago. I didn't belong to too many clubs, except the church club and Sunday school, of course. Yeah. During the war, we had on Broadway, that's the street,
Oh.
We have a Broadway too. There was the Rainbow Ballroom, and we would go there, and I said we, group of girls, and we would dance with the soldiers. Now, we had, I don't know if she was a relative, real relative, or just a friend relative. Her name was Nardi.
Hmm.
She was married to a German, his name was Gerlitz, last name, and she would try to um, fix it up with the different boys and girls. So she had an Armenian soldier at her house once, and we'd gone visiting, and he was from New York. And he says, when you go to those dances, be careful. Those soldiers, don't go out with them or anything, because they were pretty wild boys, I guess. So of course I never did.
Mm.
Mm.
Wow. Yeah, that's a funny story.
Yeah, said, be careful.
I want to talk more about your studies. You said you went to high school, but it was also a part of Fresno City College.
Mm-hmm.
So, did you also attend an undergraduate university with that, or did you just
No, all I
graduate
did was
from high
walk
school?
in one door, go out one door, in another door, take my uh, stenography classes,
Mm-hmm.
typing and whatever, shorthand.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's the only thing I took from there.
great. And you talked about working as a secretary and also as part of the stationery company. Can you tell me about any other jobs you've had?
No, those were the two jobs I had.
That's great. Thank you. And I was wondering over time if your involvement with the Armenian community has changed.
Uh, well, I can't do as much as I used to do. I
Mm-hmm.
try. I try to do as much as I can, which is not like before, of course.
Mm.
Um, yeah, I still belong to the Ladies Guild at church. Um, I used to belong to the Ani Guild, but that went away a long time ago. That's at the
Oh.
California Army Home.
Mm.
Um, but that was years ago.
I would like to talk about your family as well. You told me that you met your husband in Sunday school. Is that right?
No, the
Or
youth guild,
in the
the
youth
youth
guild?
group.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And did you have any special traditions in your wedding or in your relationship?
Special tradition, the same as everybody, whatever everybody else did.
Mm-hmm.
It's more or less the same custom.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, we had our wedding reception at the Californian Hotel at that time. That was the place, I guess, but no longer.
When did you get married?
1943.
Wow. And you said you had your first child while you were working. Is that right?
Yes, uh-huh.
Can you share a bit more about your children and what their lives were like growing up?
Okay. I'll start with the ones that are in Fresno.
Mm-hmm.
Then I'll go to LA. um, my, I have two. I have my son lives here in Fresno. One son lives in Kingsburg,
Mm-hmm.
and as I said before, my daughter lives in Southern California. Um, let's see. The oldest son, Rick, his two daughters, they each have two children, and one is Brittany, one is Brianna, and I have something written here. I have I wanted to write it down because I have to count on my fingers for each child. 6 grandchildren, 7 great grandchildren. Anyway, Rick has the 2 girls, Brittany and Brianna. I probably said that before. And they each have 2 children. Brianna has 2 boys. Brittany has 2 girls.
Mm.
And Randy, who lives in Kingsburg, he's my youngest son. He has a boy and a girl, Jessica and Derek. And Jessica has 2 children. One is on the way.
Wow.
Any day. And this is Jared. Who am I missing here? Yeah. Jared has 1 boy. Karen has 2 children, Nicole and Ryan. Ryan was the one that wanted to come down and take me to these different places. Oh, I didn't mention when he came down, he took me to the Aaronian Museum.
Oh.
And I expected to see an old wooden framed house like we are accustomed. But no, he had another house here, and it's not that far from here either. And it was very interesting. She showed us some rocks, reproductions of rocks that Aaronian had accumulated. So she pulls out this one rock and she puts it in my hand. She says, "This one is from Beatles." And I said, "I'm a Beatles, I'm, you know."
Wow.
So, and then she put a hologram of William Aaronian on the wall. And I stood next to the wall, and she took a picture of it, and it looked like he was just standing right next to me. And of course, my grandson did the same thing for himself too. So anyway, that was I was shocked.
That's very cool.
Been involved in anything like that.
Wow.
Did I miss anyone? You have Karen, Rick, and Randy.
Wow, that's great. Thank you. And I was wondering how you thought your 3 children's upbringing in Fresno was different than your own.
Well, they did a lot more activities than me. I have to tell you about this one story. Tell you about the one in Fresno, Rick.
Okay.
Now, Randy had been born, maybe he was just a few months old. And my daughter was in elementary school. And Rick had one of these cars that you pedal to get around. And Grandpa Aaronian would come and take them to school, take my daughter to elementary school, and to take Rick with her also, so that, that's Grandpa. So one day I get a phone call from the school, and I put Randy down for a nap. "Mrs. Aaronian, don't get scared, but your son is here with his sister in class." Oh my goodness, my neighbor came over and watched Randy, and I drove down to school, and sure enough, there was his little car there. He crossed a very busy street.
No.
And so we came home. Of course, he had to drive his little thing back home, and I followed him with the car. When I got home, "Mom, don't spank me, please, don't spank me." I thought that was a cute story.
That is a cute story.
And another time it was Mother's Day. And whenever I had dinners, I was cooking at that point, of course. I would be pretty fancy, and I would put like I don't know what the even if they do it now, but you would light a candle under a little giraffe. Am I calling that correctly?
Hmm.
And I forgot what they called it. It's been so long. Anyway, all of a sudden they come and they wake me up. Mom, happy Mother's Day. Come on in and have some breakfast. They made bacon and eggs, and these are little kids.
Oh.
And they even lit up this thing, and so one of them started a fire. I can't think of what the name. It's been so long. I don't think anybody does it anymore. Maybe they do. I don't know. And it was delicious, set beautifully. I would have thought that an adult had done it. My husband was shocked. I was
Wow.
shocked. It was so cute. Yeah.
That is cute.
Yeah.
Wow. I was wondering, did you speak Armenian to your kids?
Yes, they went to Armenian school.
And they went to Armenian school?
However, my daughter's the only one that speaks Armenian fluently.
Mm.
Randy, my youngest one, I'll toss a few Armenian words at him so he knows.
Uh-huh.
Rick may know a few, but not as much as Randy.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's great.
Randy is he helps me a lot. Rick helps me a lot too, but not as much as Randy, because what do I want to say? He takes care of the properties that I have. That's what I meant by helps a lot, because Rick has his own, you know. So and his work business is close to where my stuff is. So that's why he helps out a lot.
Yeah.
He can run over there, drop up a hat.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
And switching gears a little bit, have you ever visited Armenia?
No.
No. Wow. And did you ever want to? Was that something that ever interested you?
I would have liked to, but I haven't even gone overseas, just to Hawaii and stuff like that. So,
Oh.
yeah. I would like to, but it's too late now.
Mm.
At 100, I don't know.
How do you preserve being Armenian? And is that something that's important to you?
How do I preserve it?
And is it important to
Well,
you?
I go to whatever Armenian functions I'm able to go to. And I have a lady that comes in here now. I just got her. I speak to her in Armenian.
Oh, wow.
Uh-huh. She only comes once a week, just for a few hours.
Wow.
Yeah, she'll do my cooking for me. She'll bring it. She stuffed my freezer the other day with cabbage dolma.
Oh, wow.
She made them and put them in the containers. And
What are your other favorite parts of your Armenian culture?
Oh, Armenian dancing is fun, but I don't do that anymore. That's a lot of work. A lot of good exercise.
Yeah, I bet. What do you think is special about the Armenians who live in Fresno specifically?
What's so special about the Armenian
community in Fresno specifically?
Oh, well, it's like home. It's a part of my life, you know. It's just you feel the warmth. It's just different feeling, and I'm sure other nationalities feel the same way too.
That's beautiful.
I have a good feeling. I'd gone to the CVS the other day, and there was a husband and wife sitting there, and they were sitting apart, however, so there was a chair next to the wife. So I sat next to her. I was waiting for the pharmacist, and then I looked at her, and I said, "Sometimes you can tell they're Armenian, and sometimes you can't." I said, "Are you Armenian?" She said, "Yes." And I asked her what her name was. She said, "Hasmig." I said, "That's my name." And we struck up a friendship. And then her husband got all excited too. from the old country, but they had been here for a number of years.
Wow. Can you tell me what being Armenian means to you?
I'm proud to be an Armenian. I'm proud for the contributions that they have made. Um, there, there's some bad people there too. They're not all good. Um, we had, let me see, the dollar bill. Um, there's still conflict going on, but at that time the print would come out on the fingers. So the government decided that they would get in touch with this Armenian man who lived in Constantinople. They had heard about him, and he was the one that invented the ink that goes on that dollar bill. I have all that information somewhere inside. Um, then, of course, there's a doctor that invented the MRI machine. I forgot his name. How could I forget? There are several things that make me proud. We had a governor of California, Dick Mason. There are many unsung, I'll use that word, people that I don't even know about, but I know about those people. Mm-hmm.
Great.
I'm happy that they haven't forgotten their heritage. That's important to keep. Yeah, I'm proud to be an Armenian, but I'm even more proud to be an American. Mm-hmm.